Roller derby fans of all ages came to the Alliant Energy Center Saturday, April 23rd to cheer on their favorite local teams in the Season 12 semifinals. First, those in attendance were treated to an exhibition bout between the Mad Wreckin Dolls and a combined team from Baraboo Roller Derby's Boot Valley Bombers and Richland Center's Misfit Dolls, collectively called the Misfit Bombers for the night. The Wreckers started putting points up decisively against their visiting foes, aided by 9-point and 11-point jams from Toast. 7 minutes into the game, the Wreckers led 31-17. On the next jam, Atomic Fall reeled off 17 for the Misfit Bombers to bring her team to within 1 point of the lead, 35-34. The Wreckers started to pull away again thanks to scoring by Diaphragm and Urgent Scare and a defensive effort that held the Misfit Bombers to 4 points over 10 minutes. With just under 6 minutes left in the half, leading by a commanding 106-42, the Wreckers continued to distance themselves from the opposition. Joan Jetpack scored 24 and Miss Mechanics skated for 30, but the Misfit Bombers still could not get on track offensively. The half ended with the home team in the lead, 160-54. The Misfit Bombers came out in the second half scrapping, finding ways to put up points more consistently around the opposing team's defense. Atomic Fall led the way with scores that totaled a team-high 46, followed up by teammates Ace of Skates and Shirley Temple, all getting lead jams steadily for most of the second half. Defensively, however, they could not keep the Wreckers off the board. Toast continued to rack up points for the Wreckers in the second half, scoring a game-high 54. Joan Jetpack, VHS Rewind Her, and Miss Mechanics skated for 38 points each. Jammer penalties were minimal, keeping the Misfit Bombers from cutting into the Wreckers' enormous lead. In the end, the Wreckers outlasted the visiting Misfit Bombers 263-141. The first game of the MRD semifinals matched the first place Quad Squad against the last place Unholy Rollers. The game started out a little shaky, with both jammers sitting twice each for infractions during the very first jam. After 2 uneventful jams, Dark Horse broke through for 15 points for the Quad Squad behind tight blocking from Wendy You Wanna Die, Kentucky Fried Carnage, and Pied Typer. The defense continued to dominate for Team Green, holding the Unholy scoreless for the next 4 jams. 14 minutes into the game, Quad Squad held a 34-10 advantage. The Unholies countered with a string of short jams and tough defense from Hannah Cuffs, Tango de Muerte, and Fang Dangled to get them to within 8 points. They continued to clamp down on opposing jammers, allowing only 5 points over the next 7 minutes. Team Green's defense was not to be denied, however, keeping the Unholies from getting any closer. Both teams were able to continue scoring, but neither team was able to gain a decisive advantage. Defense dominated the first half, ending with the Unholies trailing by a manageable 14 points, 73-57. The Unholies came out in the second half with renewed vigor, steadily cutting into the Quad Squad's lead. Fang Dangled rolled for 13 of her game-high 49 points to get the deficit down to 4 at 79-75. The Unholies were able to keep it there for a few minutes until Thrill Show broke through for 19 of her team-high 44 points to extend Team Green's lead 104-77. Fang Dangled and Jen Detta pushed through the pack on scoring runs to get the Unholies back to within 13. With just under 18 minutes left, it was still anyone's game, with Quad Squad on top 113-100. Team Green's defense were able to shut the Unholies out for the next few jams, getting some breathing room thanks to solid scoring jams by Thrill Show and Brokeback Jack. They built their lead back up and avoided another comeback as Unholy jammers sabotaged themselves with penalties down the final stretch. After a hard-fought competitive game, Quad Squad emerged victorious 177-135. The Vaudeville Vixens got the second semifinal game underway by taking the opposing defense by surprise, getting lead jam after lead jam. Their defense kept the ResDolls jammers from getting into a groove, and by 14 minutes into the game, the Vixens had the ResDolls doubled up 44-22. The ResDolls started to settle down and dig themselves out of their hole behind a 14-point strike by Shenanigans and gritty defense from Block Nest Monster, Gene Lane, Lips Macker, and rookie Critical Tits. They eventually came back to within 2 points, 66-64, with just under 2 minutes left in the half. The ResDolls kept the game close for the remainder of the half, and as time expired, the Vixens clung to a 73-64 advantage. When the second half started, longtime ResDoll jammer Mouse decided to take over. In the first 8 minutes of the half, she hustled for 28 and 14 points to quickly put her team up by 40, 126-86. It didn't take much time for the Vixens to respond, with Kenna Vendetta going for 18, Jocelyn Hell cruising for 25, and Black Velvet slashing through for 13 on consecutive jams to put their team up 142-136. On the very next jam, Mouse put her team back on top, going for 10 of her game-high 103 points. The lead continued to flip-flop for the next 4 jams. At this point, the energy from the crowd was just as intense as the action on the track. With 5 minutes left in the game, Shantastic McAwesome lapped the pack for 34 points on 2 power jams. The Vixens had held the ResDolls scoreless for 4 straight jams. Going into the final jam of the game, the Vixens had seemingly put the game out of reach, but Mouse made it interesting again. In a last-ditch effort, she was able to muster 19 points before she ran out of time. The Vixens held on for a 209-178 victory to advance to their first championship game since 2011.